yeah, we're good. We're good. It looks like we're equal on the things, so I think we're good. Um,
All right, okay.
I'm I'm basically asking questions about the general nature of RP and like the big ideas behind it and how it all works. But I also recognize that other people want other things. So I'm also asking about your characters and about like the stories behind them and all sorts of stuff. So it's a little
Mm-hmm.
bit of a blend here, and hopefully it is of knowledge and importance to someone at some point. It's definitely for me, but we're also claiming that it's for other people, right?
Okay,
So
okay.
yeah, yeah. If you haven't seen one, which I think you have, that's what we're doing.
Yeah, I recently have seen one actually. Yeah.
All right,
No,
so
no,
oh, go
this would
ahead.
be quite good actually because because the season ended how I felt quite abruptly.
Mm-hmm.
I felt as though there was so many unfinished storylines, and it's left me feeling quite on edge, uneasy about it. So I think even talking about it is like good, like a good like therapy for me to get it all out of my head and off my chest.
Okay. That is the first question. How did the chapter end, or the story, or whatever? What what are you looking to wrap up? I guess, or can you even do that?
Well, my character Seamus has been. This is the third time I've played him. The first time, it was a learning curve. Second time, I threw myself fully into it. Lots happened, and this third time, I felt as though I was just getting into it, and other people were opening up to me in a sense, and there could have been a lot happened down the line. I think.
So, okay, I didn't know this was the third time because uh, we don't hang out or whatever, very often.
Mm.
Um, how did you originally create him, and what were you looking to do in this chapter?
Okay, in this chapter, I think I played a very similar character last chapter. Unintentionally, I went out with the intention of making um, someone much tougher, much sterner, more like a 60s gangster London style character. But then I completely messed up. The two characters just merged into each other, and I thought, God. So I was left with a choice. I knew a load of people were coming in that I knew, and I didn't want to um, know them. I didn't want to be like, "Hey, it's me again," and bring up old like stories. So I thought, yeah, let's throw Seamus in. Nobody knows him, but then a few people did, which was kind of fun.
So you never got this '60s gangster off the table or whatever. It just like you never
Well,
actually started him, or it was
no, I
Seamus.
did.
Okay.
Uh, in the last, was it the test
Mm-hmm.
season? The test on GG, the test one. It only lasted a couple of months. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun. But he kind of like blended into Seamus, which I didn't really like. I don't think I'll be playing him again.
Okay. All right. Forget these questions for a moment. Here's what I actually care about. Um, I've seen you play Johnny,
Little
so
Johnny. Okay.
so I have memories and a conceptualization of Johnny, right? So that's obviously
Hmm.
not you, but it's your voice. Okay. When you speak as Seamus, sometimes I
Yeah.
I
Yeah. I know
see
what you're
them
gonna
both,
say.
like
Yeah.
they're the same, right? And then what's
Mm.
interesting is it was like you noticed yourself and you tried to be harder like an adult. Is that accurate?
Yeah, that is very, very, very accurate. Yeah, whenever it usually happened whenever I was getting really tired playing long hours or awake for like long periods of time, I could feel myself slipping in, even with some of the silly jokes and the empathy maybe I put across to people. I could feel little Johnny coming out. Yeah, and I didn't really like that. It was nice and everything. It reminded me that I wanted to play him again, but it's not good blending characters like that.
Shrimp said, I had no idea you played Johnny, even though I told her. I'm worried about her now, so I'm going to have a conversation with her later, but maybe she just means that when you first met or whatever. I didn't recognize it either. You told me in a stream, and then once you
Yeah.
said it, like the two characters blended, and I was like lost for a while.
Okay, well, I apologize for that. Definitely, there was lots of opportunities or lots of situations where there was a lot of blending going on.
Oh,
Not good.
I don't care personally. Like, you're a person, and your voice is your voice, and like it's on. Or I guess let's make this a question. How do you think other people around you should react in those situations? Like in my case, once I recognized, oh, you played a kid, how should I have gone about making sure that I respected your character as the adult aggressive pirate, not the kid?
And I suppose that's what a lot of people ask themselves really whenever they they see the name above someone's head or recognize a voice or whatever. They just have to take things at face value. I suppose some people dive in and go be super friendly, and they're like hinting, "Yay, I know you. Please, acknowledge and recognize that you know me. Do you remember we had all those fun times together?" But I think it's important just to stand back and you know not connect. Let someone else make that move to make that connection. Because that happened to me last season as well, actually. Um, um, because I spent a lot of time with people as Johnny, and then I didn't play Johnny, and I was almost pushing the people in my company to be like, "Hey, maybe we should see what's over there," but they never took the bait, so I couldn't push that any farther. But inside me, I was like, "Oh, I miss those guys. I want to see what they're up to," but it never happened.
I got you. Um. Okay. I really. Um. Hmm. I have a ton of like really deep questions, I think, for you personally, because I
That's all
value
right. Shoot.
you and your stuff so much. But let's go back. Let's talk about the like how did you get into RP and all of that stuff? Like what's your history?
I get you. I get you. Before the second season of Dark Side, anything RP before that was just quick one-liners, silly jokes, tabletop games. It was nothing where you had to put any concentration and focus into a character and constantly remind yourself of these pillars that you have to surround yourself with. It was more just having a joke, having a laugh with friends or whatever. But
Okay.
Dark Side was definitely the eye opener for me.
Um as you play Johnny or
No,
before that? Okay.
Seamus was actually my very first character.
Okay. Gotcha.
Mhm.
Interesting.
I sailed around with a friend of mine from Arc, and then I stumbled onto La Royale and was with them for a few months. But I was very quiet, I didn't jump into the limelight. I was always in the background.
Do you think you are always in the background now?
No, no. Uh, yes and no. I know that every character certainly adds a flavor to whatever story's happening. Um, I suppose that's where the pressures come in. You have to, if you see an opportunity that your character would step up and say something, then you do so. Also, in the reverse, if you see um, a moment where you have to be take a step back, be more humble in yourself, or taking a hit for the team, being the comic relief or something, I suppose you just have to roll with it.
Do you think you're always thinking about things way more than the people around you when you're RPing?
Mm, maybe on some level. Sometimes I think maybe we all take turns at that role. Maybe it's nice for other people to take the lead and you just go along for the ride, you know? But sometimes if you recognize something or if you see a situation or if you're picking up little hints that people are trying to put across and no one else is really picking up and you know that you want them sorry, you know that they are wanting those little um nuance of characters to be brought into the light, then I suppose yeah, I would focus maybe sometimes. But I think we all take turns, you know. And you can't always be like 100% absorbing the situation. You do have to like step up sometimes, I suppose.
Um, I think you're wrong, and I think that hmm, I as you know, when you said, "Hey, I'm Johnny" or whatever, I said, "Hey, do you remember
Hmm.
this specific thing that happened? Did you stream that super dramatic cliffside thing?"
You know, because I thought about that for long and hard once you said that, and I was like, who? Why? How the hell did you know that? And then I remembered, yes, I was streaming that. I was.
Okay, so you streamed some stuff as Johnny. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So for anyone who doesn't know, there was this moment where this kid Johnny, who's like, I don't know, 14 or 16 or something, is up on a cliff talking to a
11.
woman.
I was 11.
11. That is okay. I got a lot of issues with that. But anyway, 11. Um, so he's up on this cliff. There's this like super dramatic scene, and it took like 45 minutes or something to get through, and it was like this long discussion, and like it I could feel the tension and the thoughts and the ideas, and like the sunrise was really impactful and all this junk happened, right? Okay, so like in the same way that Slick has impacted me in the past, you impacted me there, right? So
Mm-hmm.
once I figured out who you were, I started looking more. And in my opinion, you are probably thinking about the things that are happening in a huge meta scale that I'm not doing and that the rest of us are not doing, in my opinion. And I see that in
I get you.
like if someone comes up to me, Samson, and says some junk, I respond. They're not people to me, they're the character to me, and I only think, here's my response. So it's improv all the time. And I think you're doing the same thing, but whereas I ugh, hit my
Wait, I can't hear you now. Oh yeah, I can hear you fine on Discord, but not the stream. I don't think everyone heard you say that. Do you want me to tell everyone what you're telling me? The rash never cleared up from all those years. Wow. How many doctors? Wow. That's impressive. They call it the Guinness Book of Records. I think those guys, you get a reward for it. Get your name in a big book. Karma. You were probably
nope, nope,
silently judging me. Oh, there we go.
nope. Got it. All right. So that
Hold on.
yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you good.
All right. So in So to continue my thought about how you are considering everything all the time,
Mm-hmm.
I just rapid fire react, but I think about things ahead of time. For example, Boxer's birthday, I invited all these people. I thought what would happen ahead of time, and then as it happened, I just played it out. It didn't matter. But in my opinion, in every situation, you are not only thinking, how does Seamus react? How does Johnny react? You're also thinking, what will their character do next? What will their character do in the future? What will Seamus do in the future? How is this reflective of our community? How can we make a story larger from here? I think you're doing it all the time. Would you say that's accurate?
Maybe to a degree. I think for me as a person, I would be quite a thinker like that. I suppose I am always, well, I tend to look at certain bigger pictures, whether or not they're relevant to the people around me or not is another story. But as far as playing a character goes, I think it is important in some sense. Because like everyone there has a voice. You, not just our minds are in the world of Atlas. Um, you know, our emotions are there, our beings are there. Um, the environment is real. Everything's real. I suppose whenever you push yourself into that, then you know there is like a comfortable zone, um, and like, and it's at that point when you do get comfortable, then you can become more reactive in the way that you're speaking of. But this is for me. I suppose everyone's different, you know.
Yeah, definitely. But when when I'm in Atlas, it's the same thing as when I watch a movie. There are some people who watch a movie and it's a story. But and I've
Yeah.
talked about this with other people. When I watch a movie, I'm there and there's nothing else.
Hmm. I've always
So,
found that with games, you see, you know. Okay, so I can be playing a game and I can feel myself welling up inside, like emotionally.
mhm.
Um, and God, like I jump, I literally jump so many times whenever I'm playing games. Cannon goes off beside me or a bullet, like my mouse flings off the table. I'm jumping off the chair, like I'm enthused
Okay.
some of the time.
So I agree. Here's I guess the huge point I'm making. I'm also there. I'm deep in that game, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm only Samson, and occasionally I look at stream and I laugh and stuff. Well, I'm laughing all the time. I can't stop. But anyway, um, I think you're doing that. Yes, you're great at it, and I think we can immerse ourselves like that. But I also think that you are also thinking about us as players all the time, even while being completely immersed. And I can't do that, I don't think.
Mm. Sometimes they do, and I got to say that can be very distracting sometimes. Um, it's a big thing that everyone does. Like they're in their character and they just want to talk about real world stuff. They're like, oh, you know, I'm getting hungry, or something. Do you know what I mean? And that's such a distraction, such a distraction.
Hmm.
And I fall for it as well. You know, I do the same thing, but
I actually,
I
I
just
don't,
wish that didn't happen.
I don't think I'm making it. Like, do you know, do you know the concepts of nirvana, like beyond just what it is?
Hmm.
Like
No,
how
enlighten
you
me.
oh, okay, oh perfect words. So the concepts of nirvana are like understand that you aren't the only thing, and then you move to the next level and you understand that that level isn't the only thing, but you can see the previous level, and you move up the levels until you transcend, and you become aware that everything is all connected and all of that junk, but nothing exists,
Okay.
right? Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
in my opinion, most of us have transcended beyond we're playing a game to we're characters in the game, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that you're the level beyond us. And I think that you are in the game and you're completely immersed and you can see like how we're playing and all that stuff, but since you're on the next level, you can also like see beyond the fact that we're all immersed, so you can see where our characters will go and how the things you say and do will affect us, and you can like not control it, but like you can. Okay, I'll give you a concrete example if you'd like, because I understand how like meta junk this is, right? If you're okay with
I
talking
think I know
about it.
what you're talking about, and that's quite a nice compliment coming from you. Um, so thank you very much. But hmm, I think a lot of it is just learning silly little tricks to maybe give that impression across as well. Like the way Seamus, for example, would he wouldn't knee jerk come out with something himself. He would actually um, do an audible pause and think about it. Go, well, maybe. Whereas some a lot of people don't tend to do that. So maybe my character doing that puts that impression across much further. Maybe. But
Okay.
I do like to think that like the group I'm in does have a journey together to make, and some that can a story can come out of that.
I I maybe it's hmm okay. I'll work on that while we work on other stuff. Are you okay with talking about Leon?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
I think the Leon situation is a good example of how you are sort of prescient of other things. And I also don't know what happened.
Okay.
after after he was in the crocodile pit, because that's the thing that really drives me crazy.
Right.
You went over and you spoke to him, and that's cool. And then what happened?
Okay. So in character. Well, okay. So I knew that um, I might not have been 100% clear on the rules on GG, but certainly in Dark Side, where I knew the rules that we weren't allowed to move sleepers at all. But the previous night, I was with everyone and we dragged him on board while he was sleeping. And I said to everyone pretty much, don't put him in a big cage, just like leave him on the ship, see what
Mm-hmm.
happens, blah, 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 blah. Yeah,
Mm.
I tried to push that across as much as possible in character. But then the next day, I woke up and I heard that he was in a cage, dangling above the crocodile pit. So I was like, damn, this isn't good. Yeah, this is not good. So I grappled up in RP. I was like, hey, you've pissed a lot of people off, but here, you're a pirate, bro, and we got to look after each other. So here, take a grapple, wait 5 minutes. I'm gonna make a distraction. I'm gonna go and unclaim my ship, but I'll come back. Then you wait 5 minutes, wait for my distraction, and then go. And yeah, that's how it played out.
Why?
Why? Because his character, he needed the opportunity to be like, um, to he needed that choice. He didn't have a choice whenever we dragged him while he was sleeping offline, probably, I don't know, eating dinner or something, thinking, oh, I can't wait till I wake up. And then he wakes up and goes, what the hell's going on? Personally, if that would have happened to me, I would have ran with it. I would have played it out. But I'm sure a lot of people would have got really annoyed over that. So I was placating um, his real side as well as his character.
Yes, exactly. You took a series of events that everyone else like did step by step by step by step by step, right? And then
Mm-hmm.
you wrote opportunity into the situation. You were immersed in the character and all of the characters, and you considered the real world uh, situation of the character, not only at the time or the player at the time, but also when he was taken and all of the stuff in between. That's something we're not doing. The rest of us aren't doing that. We're not creating the opportunities. We're
Mm-hmm.
reacting and playing our characters out, and that's, I think, insane. I don't know how, like, I'm gonna continue to try and do that kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
Well, honestly, okay. So let's say I am this meta thinking,
Mm-hmm.
whatever, nirvana living with whatever.
Yeah.
Um, I can honestly say that I would much rather be so reactive, honest, um, and and free in that sense,
Of
where
course.
I don't think about that.
Of course. Um, ignorance, of course, is bliss. If we're not.
I wouldn't call it ignorance. Honestly, I think that um, your character, your own character, Samson, you might be more conscious of the color of the castle. You, as you're walking through, you're like, well, that bit's not painted properly. I'm gonna have to get whatever, I mean, money back. Whereas maybe I wouldn't notice that, you
Mhm.
know. So I suppose, you know, it is a team effort. I suppose whenever there's lots of people playing together, everyone picks up on different things. As long as they have the confidence to step up and um, react appropriately, I think everything works. As
I
long as they're not selfish.
I do think that we're obviously all different players and we're better at certain things than other things, but
Mm-hmm.
the reason I wanted to talk about this junk and the reason I think you're so good at whatever is because I was so impressed by something I can't do, which is this drama RP that I've been talking to other people about that I I don't see myself doing. I don't think I'm good at it. A lot of us have said Atlas isn't really our format for drama, but you do drama really well in Atlas, and you also goof off in Atlas. So,
Mm-hmm. Honestly, I think what I do um, is that I may facilitate other people's drama
mhm.
way, way, way more than I can push my own. Um, like I can remember meeting you guys in the Freeport, telling me about this um, mythical Captain Danger, and in my head I was like, doesn't nobody exists like that. Nobody exists. But like whenever I met him, he had the um, he had the what's the word I'm after? He had that flamboyance. He had that. He didn't have a care in the world, and he was like living on the edge. And I thought, you know what? You know, he needs a little nudge. You know, every now and again, a little nudge. Keep doing what you're doing, and I think whenever people have those characters, um, you know, you can push them far,
Mhm.
and it makes for better story for you, for them, for everyone.
Okay. How Yeah, he had swagger, he had charisma, he had all that stuff. Yeah.
Mm.
Definitely. I I can't see it. So how do you think you nudged danger? Like, what are some things that you did or said?
Oh, okay. So I was playing that knee-jerking role, like quick reactions of like he would be talking, and then straight away, without giving him any thought, or me, rather than me going, oh, let me think about that for a second, I would have intentionally um like backed up whatever he was saying.
Okay, but
And I
you
yeah.
just said that, to paraphrase, perhaps my characters seem, or I seem so otherworldly because I'm making my characters realistic and putting pauses in. So, are you saying you tailor your character's RP to every person and every character?
To a degree, yeah. Yeah, of course. Of course.
Okay. Did you know that not all of us are doing that?
I'm pretty sure everyone does it. I'm pretty sure, and everyone connects. I don't
Mm-hmm.
do that to everyone. Like, there's
Mm-hmm.
some people I meet and I don't connect. Um, but I think everyone does make the effort and try to respond accordingly and appropriately. Um, but I'm pretty sure everyone does that, right? No, they do. Sure, they do. Otherwise, they would just be playing Atlas solo player and have like the NPC mod, and they'll be like goofing off and laughing at themselves.
But I I will admit I can only speak for myself. Um and I'll get away from Samson because Samson is confusing to me, but let's say Pierre, right? Pierre was this
I
guy
never met
who,
Pierre.
yeah, I know. That's why I can tell you what happened, and you don't have any
Okay.
color for it, right? So
Yeah. Okay.
Pierre is what I consider evil in real life. Like, he was designed to be evil. So all of his choices were incredibly selfish, and when I decided to do something, for example, he ran a lot of scams. So I would say, I'm going to go out and run a scam, and I would sort of like come up with an idea, right? And then
Yeah.
I would I would go out and I would run the scam. For example, one time we robbed a church by sinking a ship in front of it and claiming that
Okay.
our ship had been sunk.
So
Um,
everyone ran out, and then you sneaked in.
well, I pulled a plank, and then we went and got a tour of the church, and then someone ran up in and said, "Hey, someone's ship is sinking," and everyone went out, and then we were like, "Oh
Nice.
no, our ship has sunk," and then they gave
Yeah,
us
that's great.
materials, right? Okay, that interaction, Pierre responded to everyone in relatively the same way as when I did a painting night scam. At no point did I think or say like, um these characters don't understand, I need to act more outgoing or more flamboyant. I don't think I'm doing that.
Right. I get you.
I have this tiny idea. Pierre is a scam artist, and then I do it, and
But I'm
people
sure
like it.
while you
I
were
don't know.
doing that, I'm pretty sure while you were doing that, while you were doing that scam, you were like, you were putting across, I'm a little bit, I'm up to something. You don't know what it is, but I'm putting across to you that, something's happening. You didn't find yourself like speaking a little different, like giving them little hints that, something's gonna happen. You're up to no good.
No, it was me and Shelter, and we played it super chill.
Okay.
We didn't. However, I will say that when I wrote scam letters and stuff, I did write them as obviously a little
I
off,
get
a
you.
little fake. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
But in that scenario, no, we didn't. I, um, I don't want to keep saying, "Hey, you're great. You don't understand." You know what I mean? But I do think you have skills that a lot of us don't have, and I want. So I'm gonna keep trying to figure out how you do them, so that
Mm.
if I'm good at whatever
Don't
I'm
look
good at,
too hard. You might find you'll peer back the veil and there's no thing there.
right? It's possible, but I do think it's there. Um, do you have any tips for drama RP and like how we can get there and how to facilitate other people's drama or whatever it is you're doing?
I suppose throw in those little catchphrases, like if someone says something that sounds juicy, just go, the quick reaction of what, and then just let them do their monologue. Every now and again, just drop a little. Oh wow, I don't know.
Okay. Do you find yourself asking? No, okay. Here's something better. I would say that Seamus learned a lot of people's secrets and a lot of people's stories about like where they were from and who they were talking to
Mm-hmm.
and like all that stuff,
Mm-hmm.
right? Samson didn't do that. How do you go about getting into people's backstories, getting into people's character responses to other characters and companies and stuff?
I don't know. I think the majority of people are desperate. That they will try, and they'll jump at the opportunity to open up and you know this is my character. This is who I am. This is what I've had for breakfast, and blah 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 blah. So I suppose it's like you know opening the right doors, pulling the right strings, letting them do that. Maybe.
Do did you did you ever do artificial things like where are you from? Stuff like that?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah. Honestly, I try not to do it so much. Um, definitely not on like the first meeting. There'll be like the generic things that you'll talk about in the first meeting, but once a person gets a little bit more relaxed with me, you can sense these things, and then you can like poke a little bit more.
Hmm.
But I don't think I generally do like really push to try and get people to open up.
Yeah. I know. Well, so Azaraka says, "Hey, I don't think you realize how good you are and stuff." I definitely have. I mean, not strongly, but it's this thing called imposter syndrome where you think you're not as good as you are and all of that stuff.
Honestly, if that's the way it is, then let it be so.
Yeah. Um, if I understand that I've been doing RP for years and that I'm doing things that I can't see, right? But nobody's interviewing me. I'm interviewing these other people. I'm trying to take whatever they have, you know what I mean? Or not take, sorry, you can keep it, but
No, I understand.
also learn because
Yeah.
if it makes me better too, imagine a Pierre that can make you cry. Imagine if I had an evil character willing to scam you that could also make you cry. Like, there would be no defense, and it would be so realistic that the example would come out, you know, like real. And then that would be my goal. Here's a scam that's actually real. Here are the effects. What did you learn? Boom. That's what I want.
Hmm.
I mean, not necessarily evil, good as well, but that was the example I chose. Um,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think it's about having like an effect on people, where
mhm.
people actually consider your presence as being real, and you're not just standing there thinking, is that is that person AFK, or are they paying attention?
Yeah, I played that character. His name's Boxster.
I can remember running up to Boxster one time. Okay, so I was a little bit naughty back then because I used to be on Skype with Cami,
Mhm.
my sister in the game,
It's okay. Different
and
server. It's fine.
and we used to be like, right, there's someone over there. You know, on the count of three, we're gonna run over and just swarm them and bounce all around them and like make them feel good. But I can remember one time, like, we were like, right, there's Boxster, and this is maybe our third time meeting you. First and second time, we didn't really have a conversation, but the third time you were on your own, and we were like, right, like now is the time. And we both ran over and go, oh, and we went like, Boxster, Boxster, blah, 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 blah. And you had all these scars on your face and you were pacing up and down the dock. And like, honestly, the energy that you give off, it was like an impenetrable wall. You know, no matter where we went, what we said, you were like diverting. It was like like polar opposites, you know, anti-magnetism. It was, yeah, it was very good. We could tell that you had just recovered from something very serious, or you know, experienced something very serious.
Um, cool. That's probably not what was happening, but
Okay. No, no, it was. It sure it was. I'm
well,
pretty sure you had all these scars.
yes. Well, was it when I had all the white stuff, or before that? I guess with the scars, because yes,
No,
there
I
was a
can
bunch
remember
of scar
like
stuff. Okay.
dark scars
Hmm.
on your face. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was a point at which I was, hmm, like, I was really, really, really trying to be sad all the time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, that definitely came across. That
Yeah.
definitely came across in a very strong way.
Well, it was screwing me up, so I'm glad it
Oh,
worked, but I
yeah,
didn't want to
okay.
do it. But
No, that definitely worked, definitely.
yeah, I listened to sad music all the time. I thought about sad things to say all the time. It
Really?
was, yeah,
Wow.
like, anyway, unimportant. But
So
I'm
do you
glad it
find
worked.
that you're thinking about your character a lot, you know, out when you're AFK, walking, you know, down the streets or whatever? Do you find yourself trying to get in that mind frame?
Um, I do this thing that I know a lot of people do, but is definitely weird for people who don't do it. Um, I do the thing where I think about the full conversation step by step all the way through for
Mm-hmm.
things that don't exist and will never happen. So,
Yeah, yeah, but potential scenarios.
yeah, yeah. And I know other people do that, of course, but like um I I would think about like, okay, I'm going to ladies night later tonight. What song should Boxster try and sing, right? And then I would go through all these songs, and then when I picked one, I would be like, how is that going to make people feel, and who's going to be there, and then what are they going to say, and what is Boxster going to say, and then what did they say to that, and what does Boxster say to that, over and over and over and over, right? And then
Mm-hmm.
none of that stuff ever happened, ever, not one time, right?
Yeah.
I would sing a song and something completely different would happen, but I I was like prepping or something because I wanted it to be sad. So sing the sad song, have the sad energy, and then whatever happens happens afterwards. But I'm down that sad street already, you know?
Yeah.
Like I never
Yeah.
thought, something funny could happen ever. I thought
Yeah,
about
I understand.
I thought about killing Leaf over and over and over and over, and it never happened. And
Killing who? What,
this
sorry?
this guy named Leaf, the guy who set Boxster up to go down the path he did and got him hung and all this junk. Like I thought about those scenarios all the time. I wrote Pierre scams over and over and over that never happened. So yeah.
What happened, Boxster? How did you get hung?
Okay. Well, I'll tell you. Okay. First off, you're not allowed to ask, but it's not an interview of me, but I'll tell you because whatever.
Okay.
I mean, you are allowed to ask. I'm kidding. Um, Boxster is a map maker. He I drew the maps in game live on stream instead of looking at the
Mm-hmm.
actual map. So I would stand on mountaintops and look at where the coast goes and like draw it and stuff.
Nice.
So I did those live, right? And then I met this guy named Leaf, and Leaf said, "Hey, I think this company would be interested in talking to you called Blackwake,
Okay.
but
Right. Okay. Seamus has got history with. Okay.
of
Keep going.
course." So I played Boxster as having memory issues because of some stuff that led to Boxster being the way he is, and I don't really
Mm-hmm.
want to talk about that, but it's a thing. So at that point, he had memory issues, and he went to the wrong island, and he mapped Alpha Romeo, and then he
Right.
wound up at Blackwake, and I spent hours waiting for anyone to wake up because I was trying to do this story thing, right? So they catch
Mm-hmm.
Boxster. They say, "You've been climbing on our defenses, whatever." I was really a douchebag, and I drew all their defenses for them in a sort of poster letter to them,
Okay.
which was a mistake, but whatever.
Definitely.
So then they put Boxster in prison, right? And they say, "We're going to wait for a captain to wake up." And I'm like, "Cool, awesome, whatever." And like at the time, more people than I'd ever seen in the stream were just chilling, looking at Blackwake, chilling, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then a voice made words outside, and chat lost its mind, which it didn't really, but people were like, "Oh no." And I was like, "I don't know what's happening." And this bro named Logan came in, and he said,
Zero tolerance, right?
"Right, zero tolerance. You drew our defenses. You are a danger to us." And I said, "Well, I can make maps of anyone." And he said, "Why do you have a map of our enemy already?" And I said, "I don't know. I just live here. I don't know." And he said,
Mm-hmm.
"I don't trust you. I don't believe you." And then he hung and burned Boxster at the same time. And I didn't know what to do because it was a brand new character. Like I didn't know what I was doing. I was just
Yeah.
guessing, you know what I mean? So
It's a
then that
little
led
bit unfair to put that on you, to be honest.
I think it was great. I would do the same thing. I advocate for things like it. But I understand all of like I've thought about that event more probably than any other event ever, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And in RP anyway. And I
Well,
think
it's definitely a life-defining situation, for
Mhm,
your character.
definitely. Right. So like that sort of thing you and I'll ask you about this. Do you find those life-defining things occurring in a situation where all the pirates are friends at the end of the fight? And Shrimps even said that you told Tiny, "Hey, they're not actually our friends," kind of thing. So how do you feel about that more friendship aspect of what we've seen?
Well, everyone that Tiny was friends with, um, um, I've been friends with a lot of them for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So I intentionally made a character that they had never met before,
Mm-hmm.
just for just for just for role play. Whatever happened. I was aware that big companies can kind of dominate a lot of people's role play, and I wanted to play a character that none of them have ever met before. Well, a couple did have, but they weren't intending on playing.
Mm-hmm.
And then if by chance we would be friends, then great. If it would be enemies, then still great. Just let's have fun.
Right. Well, so for example, in Darkside, um,
Hmm.
Boxer was murdered in like a torture scenario, and I continued to play that
Yeah,
character. That
I get you.
doesn't happen in GG. The rules don't allow it, but So that led to this thing that we saw where, for example, the fight goes on for an hour, and then once the ship is down, everybody gets on the other ship and they like make jokes and junk, and they get sailed home or they get sailed somewhere, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
in a joking manner, but you didn't really see that I hate you, I'll kill you kind of junk, you know?
yeah. I think because it was such a small server, everyone kind of knew who everyone was,
Mm-hmm.
and at the same time, whenever you know who everyone is, you're kind of like being very careful not to offend people, which can be a little bit frustrating. I say, go ahead, offend people, because if there's any, if you are feeling personally involved, you can always DM them afterwards and say, hey, that was fun, that was cool. Wouldn't it have been funny if blah 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 blah. But yeah, I think a lot of people this time around was very aware, and a lot of friendliness was premeditated. It was like, okay, so I know if this is going to happen, I know at the very end I'm going to run around and make sure everyone's okay. No hard feelings.
That's a good point. This premeditated friendship kind of, or niceness or whatever. That's
Mm.
hmm. So so you think, or to summarize, I guess, maybe our our community chose that path, and that the rules could have allowed for more violence and anger and stuff. It just didn't take that path most of the time.
I don't even think allowing more violence to be the solution to that. I think just having more people is the
Mm-hmm.
solution. It's not possible to have, to keep everyone happy. You're
Mm-hmm.
always gonna, you know, piss someone off, and whenever that happens, then jump on it. Definitely jump on it. But then I suppose this is why we need people who are gonna, like Danger, for example. I know it's the second time I've brought him up.
That's cool.
He was off pirating people on his second day, and everyone was just like, it was their first day. The second day, the server popped, so he made a lot of enemies straight away, and that was something I jumped behind instantly. I was like, yes, brilliant, fantastic. Let's not be friends with everyone. Let's have that conflict.
True. Um.
Another thing as well is I don't generally like knowing everyone either. Of course, you do like knowing people, but and even though you do hear the same voices, you know who people are straight away. I don't generally like running around being friends with everyone. I think it's important, to have that stand from day one.
I I'd never met Danger. I'd never met a ton of the people that I had met. Hmm. But you did. Interesting. Um.
Some.
Did you hear my thoughts about like the classifications of our peers or whatever, like Leech and the other ones?
No, no.
Well, I'll just
What's
explain it.
this?
Okay. So, myself and GobTube, who you may know as El Mako, we play characters that we consider to be Leech characters. Um,
Yes, I did hear that. Yeah, I watched that interview.
okay. Well, yeah, it's an idea I'm trying to like work out and stuff. Do you think? Do
I,
you
I, I
think?
liked that. I really liked that. I really liked that. It's a nice personal challenge to set for yourself.
Okay, true. I I think so, but do you think that Leech type of players, I'll call them progression characters, and in those I'll say Danger and Tiny, and then like facilitation players, do you think that's a good identification of pretty much every player?
I suppose on some level, I think so. On some level, I suppose some people would pay more attention to one than the other thing.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. Like,
But I gotta say, for being a leech character, you didn't really grab all of the legendary gear that was running around. Any mythical gear, you weren't like, "Oh, I'm having that."
well,
You're like
yeah,
fused, complete, point blank.
true. I didn't use anything other than common except for sword. Um,
Hmm.
and that was more because I needed something to deal with, like a snake immediately, kind of thing.
Hmm.
But when I played Pierre, it was the same thing, except I used mythical knuckles or whatever. Yeah, we don't kill our hosts with our greed. That's a good point. We can't possibly use all of the resources up, right? Like, that's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to never have to get the resources ourselves. We don't
Yeah,
want to. We don't want to do any Atlas stuff. Um,
I get you.
so it is a I personally want to play a level 1 character from start to finish. I'm going to try again next season. 23 is where I stopped in this season, with all common except for sword. Um, but
Well, if you're gonna do that, why don't you just take the crafter role? You know, because you'll have no extra
Mhm.
health and stamina and blah 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 blah. It'll just be pure intelligence, and then I suppose that way you can, add another twist.
I was going to do that this season because I want to learn, like, more of the game, even though I don't want to do it. So I'm like conflicted, but there were two reasons that I didn't. I didn't tell the person before that I interviewed that I mentioned. I think it was Shrimps. Um, I was never going to make like a perfect craft.
Hmm.
I remember Trippy being the crafter and being worried about not having the percentage or whatever, right? So if I
Hmm.
am the crafter, I probably won't even put any points into like whatever is necessary for it. It'll just be like, hey, we have this gear, it's whatever happens kind of thing. And
I get you.
if I did that, which I would be totally okay with, and many people might be okay with, there are definitely going to be people who identify that as sabotage because, at least in my opinion, like, it doesn't look like I'm trying, kind of thing.
I suppose it depends what angle you're coming from. If you role play the fact that, um, like, let's say a common blueprint, you could say, well, compare it to the mythical one here. It's got more smudges. Some of the numbers are missing. It's torn a little bit, but the blueprint, the quality blueprint, just means that it's more intact and you can read more of the specifications. Like, that's one side of it. And then after you craft it, I know that people like to throw a lot of numbers out just for pure laziness, but they could easily turn around and say, look, this one's very close to being perfect. I've not missed a stitch or something like that. But if they get a bad craft, then they can say, I've got a hangover or something. It didn't come out quite well, but take it or leave it, whatever.
Okay. That's an interesting sort of idea. Um,
Or that's only one side if you actually do want to push the whole min max thing. And I do. I don't, but I do. I don't straight away. But eventually I do allow my character to recognize that skill.
yeah.
But if you're coming from the angle of, whatever comes out, just whatever, that's okay as well. Just don't expect many
Uh,
customers.
yeah. One sec. I gotta look at my schedule. Whoops. Hope I didn't tell someone wrong. Um, I I agree. I think that the numbers can be um RP'd through and all of that stuff. I'm interested in trying crafting. The thing is, the second thought I had as soon as I decided, hey, I want to try this crafting thing, is that I wasn't going to put an admin's name on something that was crafted. I thought
Oh, right. Yeah.
we many of us know why that's kind of sketch. So I just thought, whatever. I don't need to do it, and someone else is taking the role anyway, so I'm not going to. So I just avoided that as well. Um,
Yeah, that makes sense.
breeding or something else would have been a better choice, but as soon as I was like, I don't care, I was immediately back on my path of I don't want to do crafting, I don't want to do any of that stuff. I just want to leech, and I did. So that's how I play.
You know, I knew you were an admin, but
Mm-hmm.
I was only reminded of that um, on very rare and specific occasions. I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't like running around thinking, "Oh, he's an admin. He's an admin. Better be careful," or "Better do this." Blah 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 blah.
Yep. The only time in company that I ever did that sort of stuff was when
You
a
forced your
rule
way
was,
into the company again.
well, okay, I did continue to force myself into the company over and over again because I kept having to leave, but also
Yeah.
like if one of our ships was out of rule compliance, I just fixed it immediately
Yes. Yeah.
or whatever. So, or like we had too many tames or something, I was like, hey, we need to fix this right now, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Other than that, like, um, you know, people did tickets or whatever, and however that worked out. I wasn't like, I don't think any of the admins are like trying to be admin all the time and remind people all the time, kind of thing. Um,
Mm.
yep, I definitely wasn't. Did they add a new rule regarding number of flags? No. Hey, if you want to check out the test server, you can't use them yet, but there is a test server up, and you could see like how the new NPC ships are and stuff. You know, if you want to check it out, whatever. Anyway, um, I think so there's this other opposite kind of path that I wanted to take because I am really focused on Johnny. Um,
Hmm. Johnny's story is heartbreaking. Heartbreaking. It really
yeah.
is.
What
Yeah.
What's it like to play a child character?
You know, at the start, it was a little bit lonely. You pick up really quickly whenever people are like, "Oh God, kids, get me away from them." You kind of get used to that. For Johnny, it was it was a bit of a whirlwind. Because like me and Cami, we had this thing where we would see someone, and like it was pre-orchestrated for the first maybe couple of weeks, but then we learned each other's little traits. We knew our triggers, so we knew when to like pounce on someone and make them feel good or whatever, and act all whatever kitty and stuff. um but once we got adopted, and then once we met our whole new family, and that's when it really flipping took off. Such a whirlwind. It was a fantastic um time for Johnny, definitely. And then things went slightly sour. I would say the biggest thing is that a lot of people have preconceived ideas of kids. I know that at the time there was a couple of kids running around Dark Side, and they were causing chaos.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and me and Cami never done that. Um, like for example, I can remember one of my neighbors. He gave me a pistol, right? And he gave me some bullets. But no joke, it took Johnny 3 months of in game time to learn how to load the pistol himself. I was constantly asking people, can you load this pistol for me? Can you load this pistol? And it was maybe another 1 month after that, when he was able to actually hit things pretty accurately, like animals and stuff. And then towards
Nice.
the end, he was a sharpshooter with like 360 no scoping bees and things like that, you know.
Yeah. Do you when you make characters, do you set up those regulations on yourself ahead of time like, oh, he's not going to know anything cuz he's a kid, right? Like, do you do that with other characters too? Is that how you make characters?
Yeah, to a degree, I suppose you have to. Yeah, yeah. But most of the time, it never really works out like that. You know, you meet the very first person, even though in your head you're practicing a voice. You meet the very first person, and then you know, where did that croak come from? You know, oh hey, you know, that's got to be a thing now. You know.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Voices change when you try. I definitely think so.
Mm, mm.
Or you're like caught off guard, kind of thing. Um,
Yeah.
the the thing I think is most interesting about Johnny and Cammy, um, what's it like to play with real kids?
Oh, yeah, because Croc's son and daughter played on Dark Side,
Mm-hmm.
and um, nothing really changed, to be honest. I can remember um, we were all out in front of on the docks, the ladies' night one night, and we intentionally stayed away from all the raunchy, you know, songs and kinky stuff or whatever. We tried as much as we could. But we were out in front of the docks and we were just like being silly, like, you know, leapfrogging each other, like
Mm-hmm.
silly, boring stuff. It wasn't like exciting. But then, like, me knowing that there was actually under 18s like playing, you know, I was like super careful, very careful. Not really very careful, it just wasn't, you know, trying to be clever with anything. I was just
Right.
being very basic.
Yeah, I think all four were really done well. I do think that, like, at ladies' night or anywhere you saw them, they were just running around doing some junk, like all the
Mm,
time, and very
yeah.
like energetic and stuff. So
But
I thought they
pudding
were
was
all
the main
done.
reason to go to get that sugar rush.
Yeah, I I don't know. I've never done it. I know Itro played a kid named Folger. Um, that originally, like you said, I was kind of iffy on. Um, and then once we had him in, I just sort of like started doing adult at a kid kind of junk, like telling him not to do stuff and like I don't treating him like a kid, I guess.
I get
So
you. Yeah, yeah. Well, I got to say, the group I was with at the time, I think I was very, very, very lucky. Um, I know Saphira's in the chat.
mhm.
Um, Auntie Lillian, I called her. She looked after um, Johnny and Cammy a lot.
Mhm.
Um, and I think like all of that group, you could see their, you know, you could see their care
Mhm.
for Johnny and Cammy, and they were very, very, very accommodating for having two kids. And like their whole role play, whenever we were around, their whole role play like hinged on the fact that there's two kids here, you know?
Right. I I also saw that, and um those dudes were like violent pirates, and it was really like it's movie kind of stuff to see like violent pirates interacting with a kid and like
Mm,
being nice and giving them stuff. Like that whole scenario, the story was very, I think,
hmm.
thematic and like good to watch, interesting, all of that stuff. um
At the time, I didn't know. I kind of sensed that some of them knew each other, um, but at the same time, I also like Johnny seen like chemistry happening between two characters in game, and and you could just tell that these two characters had just met, these two people playing their characters had just met, and they realized, hey, you know, this is fun. We've got good chemistry. Everything's a laugh, and like all of that was role played, and it developed into like a relationship. It didn't happen overnight. It happened over, you know, weeks and weeks and weeks, and their characters and Johnny like knew that this was happening, and there was conversations, and I was asking silly awkward questions that was like shining light on their relationship that was developing, and then they were reacting fantastically, and then that just really encouraged, like Johnny's innocent nature to come out.
Hmm.
I think I was very lucky with Anarchy. Very, very lucky. It was fantastic.
Yeah, I think so too. But I mean, I want to think that if you had wound up in another crew, it would have been a different story for sure. But hopefully, it would have still been a like I want to think the best of people, kind of thing. So I don't know. It
No,
doesn't matter
I
because it
think
didn't
so.
happen. But
Yeah.
um,
Well, Johnny definitely did have opportunities. He did have other roads to go down.
mhm,
That personally, myself, I felt as though, that's not something I can't take that on board. It's maybe too big for little Johnny to comprehend, and I'm going to be going in a bad situation. For me, definitely Anarchy was comfortable,
mhm.
definitely, but there were other opportunities, definitely.
What do you think about all of these discords we're all in?
Okay.
Like,
Um.
like for example, now that you could see all of Soggy Boys, like,
Okay. Let me have a look.
okay, sure. It's a leading question. That's what kind of question it is.
Yeah, I'm kind of sensing that. Okay. What do I think about it? I think sometimes it's good to facilitate. Um, but other times, like as I said earlier, myself and Cami were on Skype together, because we knew each other in real life. We were always on Skype. Um, how we would be like, all right, someone's coming, right? We're going to do this and we're going to do that. It was all about facilitating. It was all
mhm,
about propping up, preparing for a situation. And once that happened, then very quickly we learned each other's little triggers. We knew each other's characters, and then the Skype stopped. It wasn't unnecessary. But I'm pretty sure a lot of other people um, would rely on like being comfortable in Discord or Skype or whatever VoIP you use or whatever, and not engage in game as much. I try to steer away from that, definitely.
okay. Um, so this Soggy Boys thing you're looking at is like I don't know, a year and change old. Um, for anyone who's not in
Tea
there, we
talk.
what?
Tea? What's tea talk? What do you talk
Uh,
about in there?
we talk about tea. But more importantly, like it's it's a bunch of friends, right, who met in
Yeah,
game or whatever, and we had it for our actual company, and then after that it's continued to go, right? Like we're
yeah,
still friends, we talk about junk, whatever. So it
of course.
exists, and there's I don't know, like 30 people in it or some junk, right? Then there's Strongbridge, which is bigger, and there's a ton of people in there, and there are other companies and groups, and like we're all in dozens and dozens of discords that are
Mm,
all the same sort of people but different. And
yeah.
do you have any thoughts on bringing people out of these little tiny clusters into the larger community that we're all in, but we sort of forget when we're just hanging out, like in the smaller ones?
Are you saying that we need to promote the larger discords and do away with the smaller ones to bring everyone together?
No, I think it's hard to remember that. Hmm. Okay, so you've never been in this Discord that we're in, right? It's a Discord of friends, right? But what if you had been in there the whole time? you and I would be much better friends. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
because of the nature of the Discord and how close we are, we would be good friends.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to get at, I guess,
Well, there's still, yeah, I spoke about anarchy earlier, and there's still anarchy Discord.
mhm.
I think a few people have left, just probably to clear up the slots available or whatever. But it's maybe it's like nostalgia, maybe, um, yeah, and there's there's quite a few Discords we all have, I'm sure, that
Mhm.
we've not been active in such a long time.
Well, okay, so
Maybe.
that's my point right there. Soggy Boys is active
Mhm.
nonstop. We talk every day about work and life and games and all sorts of
Mhm.
junk. Tea, Europe, anything, right? Okay.
Mm.
I I didn't get the opportunity to be a better friend with you because you weren't there. You know what I mean? Like, I had the opportunity with all these people.
Maybe.
Yeah, so is there a way that we can make the larger communities that we're in more aware of each other, more close, more like friends, so that we have more opportunities to be friends?
Hmm. I, I suppose that might be difficult because you don't want to mix RP um with real life, friends and discords or whatever. Maybe like uh, like the test server might be a good place to do that.
Hmm.
I don't know, get an admin to say, "Hey, we're gonna spawn in 15 krakens at once. Come on, everyone, see what you can do. You've got 6 hours to spawn whatever you can in, and just go ham on it." I don't know.
Okay. Okay. So, hmm.
Just some kind of community event, I suppose. Your town hall meetings, that'll definitely bring people closer together. But then again, you're probably going to find that it's the same faces coming in every time.
Mhm. Yeah, that's kind of what, like, I mean, that's not what I was doing with my events. I just wanted to run events so that if someone wanted to go to something on Saturday, go to it. I don't care. But hmm.
Okay, okay. But did you have the I know we're not allowed to ask questions to you because it's not your interview. But did you at all have that mindset whenever you were starting the events of what would be good to bring people together?
No. I'm really really selfish, and um as Pierre, I ran painting night because I recognized it as a great thing to bring people together.
Hmm.
But it was Flutter's idea, or
Okay.
whatever. Okay, so then I created a Splatoon event, which I thought was amazing. And I just wanted to do things that weren't painting because I'm bored of painting. So I created all these other types of art events that I thought could work, right? I just wanted to test them. It
Hmm.
didn't matter to me if anyone came. I just wanted to look at it and try it. Um, but at the same time, I am an admin and I wanted to have things for people to go to because those are super necessary to the world.
I think so. Yeah.
Like and I hate the ones that we have, no offense to anyone who runs them, because we've done them all. We've all been to animal fights, we've all been to fist fights, we've all been to ladies' night, we've all been to painting, or we've at least seen them. You know what? So I wanted to try something completely new. And it was interesting that the Oddities Museum was
Hmm.
something I had never seen, completely
Yeah.
new,
That was
running all
good.
the time. So it was cool to see someone else doing it. Like, oh, I was like, oh yeah, this is exactly what we need. More of this junk,
Hmm.
right? So that's why I did them.
I suppose if you've got the imagination, then definitely go for it. Some people don't have the imagination, I suppose.
Well, true, and even all the animal fights are different.
Yeah, everyone's got their own little twist. Yeah.
From what I've seen, they're always a little different. I just don't go to them because I don't. It doesn't. It's not a thing for me, but I still want them to occur because they are for certain players, and there are definitely people who have never seen them before, right?
Hmm.
Same thing with painting night. There are a ton of people who have never been to a painting night, even though tons of people in Dark Side have been to them. Tons of people are aware of them. You know, you don't know what your character's going to do and stuff. So
Hmm.
I think those should still occur. It just wasn't going to be in me this time.
I get you. My first experience of those kind of staged events was with La Royale with Sunday School.
Mm-hmm.
And the first couple of times I went, I thought, what the hell is this? But then after that, I realized, this is quite good. This isn't just a stage for people to flex their ego. It's actually getting, the randomers up and like talking, forcing them into like, yeah, I have to turn my mic on. Okay, here goes. And I think
Right.
that's important as well. It really helps people.
Mm, do you think? Because I know you said it earlier, like, "Hey, I'm not mad" or whatever kind of comments. I think you mentioned that or something. Do you think
Hmm.
we should be more active in telling people, "This is great. Thank you for that experience in Discord or whatever"? Do you think that would lead to more friendships, more relationships?
Yeah, it's very possible. It's very possible. Um, Shrimpkin, I can remember talking to her last season. Um, I think what happened? I think she ran past one of our defense towers, um, and we got talking after that, and I didn't even realize it was her, um, until I went to send her a message like a few weeks ago, and I was like, "Oh wow, actually, you know, I've been talking to her," and then so I think in some respect you can go around and make friends with people, but just as long as the RP is separate, you've got to have the mindset. Well, you don't have to, but it definitely does help to have the mindset of you can do anything, you can say anything. I'm not going to take it personally. In fact, I don't even know the whole 6 months leading up to this situation for you in character. So how can I take real offense from it? Or how can I take you the wrong way? I suppose I just have to take you at pixel, um, on a pixelated level. I can't take it too serious.
Right. Hmm.
Definitely hard sometimes. There's definitely I've been rubbed up um, the wrong way many different times, but you just have to try to find a level, I suppose.
Um. Hmm. I. Hmm. I guess this is me saying, "Hey, I think you're great," right? Like, most of the beginning of the interview was just me saying that, right? Like, "Hey, I think you're a
Yeah.
great RP" or whatever. So let's use this as the example, right? Like,
Okay.
if this had come up as a text sort of thing, like, "Hey, I think Seamus was great. I remember Johnny. This, your RP's great. I think you're amazing." All sorts of junk like that.
Hmm.
I would have said that in DM, obviously. Maybe publicly, even though it freaks me out, in like a public Discord kind of thing.
I get you. I get
Do
you.
you?
Maybe that could be an interesting thing to do, but because that's something that I certainly lack on. In fact, after this season, I've been intending to like poke a few people and say, "Hey, that was cool. Wouldn't it have been fun to see, another couple of months of it to see where it would have went to or whatever?" Um, but yeah, me included, maybe everybody should do more of that. definitely.
I definitely do it. Just I like I guess I meet too many people and stuff like that. I do it when I think of it, when it's, you know, relevant, prevalent in my mind, kind of thing. Um, I I definitely urge everyone to do it, so I guess I'll urge you as well.
Mm.
Um, a lot of
But
the
at the
time,
same time, sorry, but
yeah,
at the same time, I also don't want to, like, I've got a thing about getting too personal with people as well. I would rather be like anonymous. I can remember the first time I streamed Johnny,
hmm
and you know, it was like exciting and stuff, blah 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 blah. But like everyone was like, no, you know, my whole immersion's broken now. You know, I hear the voice behind Johnny, and I thought, you know, it's nice to chat with people, but at the same time, it's nice to have that mystery about you as well.
for
So
sure.
that's probably another reason why I don't like DM people, to connect on that personal level.
Um, Interesting. You're obviously allowed to have, you know, your own preferences and stuff. I would personally heavily promote you and a stream of you, even if you were playing Johnny. I think, and I'll call them out. The Janie and Brock are, I would say, very similar in that. They they don't do interpersonal stuff necessarily all the time, outside of the game, so it's all character stuff, right? And it makes
Hmm.
them really believable. Okay,
I don't know who Janie and Brock are.
I know that's fine, you don't have to, but I'm calling them out.
Okay.
Because I do, and I hmm I the reason I'm like urging you to and stuff is because I want to be your friend. Like, I don't want to be Seamus's friend. I don't want to be Johnny's friend. I don't want to be
Hmm.
those people's friends. There is a cat trying to
I
get
get
in
you.
here. But like, do you think you're missing online friendships by creating this wall of character?
It's very possible I'm missing out. Yeah, very possible. Um, yeah, it's very possible. But then sometimes you don't. I don't know if you can hear me or not. Has he got his headphones on?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Are you wireless? Okay. Meow.
Yeah, cat.
Cute kitty.
Like, I just kind of want everyone, like everyone in GG and Darkside, everyone in Strongbridge, everyone in No Pixel, all of these people, I want you to know that like we're still here when the server's down. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
you can come to my stream obviously, but not everyone streams. You can come to someone's DMs, but you're missing the rest of the company when you do that. So there's all these people who are part of this community, not GG, not Discord, but like nerd friends in RP that we just don't see unless you've come to our port. And um I don't know.
Hmm.
We're there all the time, like all the time. You know what I mean?
Mm. Mm. It would definitely. I suppose. Yeah. It would. Invite people to come and role play more. Definitely.
Well, not just roleplay, like if your boss does something dumb, that's funny. Tell me. I want to know. Like,
If what? Sorry. Say that again.
if your boss does something dumb,
All right. Okay.
I want to like we're friends. I want to know. You're
I
a
get you.
you're a character in the game, but you're also you and you're my friend. So I'm not trying to force anybody to do anything or like be more active or involved. I'm just trying to say there's more out there than just the community that you think you see as a Discord community. Like it's way bigger than that, you know?
I suppose it is true because like a lot of us spend a lot of time, a lot of flipping time, like looking over Discord, um, being in game, like even being on stream. I suppose a lot of us do spend a lot of time and effort into that. Hmm.
Yeah.
I've got this like pit of guilt welling up inside of me because of you now.
Oh, well, I wasn't intending that. It's more like, okay, okay. Let's compare it to what we think you're good at, right? Like, we all think that you're very good at conceptualizing RP and the story and everything in all sorts of directions and all of that stuff, right? And I
Okay.
believe that's true. But it seems like you have difficulty in approaching people outside of those stories and everything, right? Like, or not difficulty, but unwillingness or whatever. Or
No, I think you're quite accurate there. I certainly do have a difficult time in like expressing myself over like Discord or a platform where you can't truly express yourself properly.
Mhm.
Yeah, definitely.
So, uh, in my experience, in my case, like I think I'm, I guess maybe the opposite, even though I don't think so. Of where if you say something on Discord in the community, like we have a connection already, you know, like you're different than someone on the street, and then if we have interactions in the game, we are closer to friends just because we're playing a game together. Like we're friends. So at that point, it becomes you're my friend. We hang out in a game all the time. It's not enough to just talk to Seamus. I want to talk to you, and then
I get you.
I want to know, or not know, but like I want to share things with you and have you share things with me, and we're friends and all that junk, right? Like what?
I get you. I get you.
So I just want, I'm basically trying to tell people, hey, the people who are willing to give you their time in game, the people who are showing you that RP gratitude may also be willing to show you real life gratitude and may be willing to be your friend outside as well.
Very interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah. Well, you're our friend now. Sucks.
All right. Yeah.
Get
Friendship
wrecked.
accepted.
All right. We did it.
Yay.
I heard one more friend, even though I already considered us friends.
Well, honestly, like ever since Boxster, the time when Johnny was in the Hooligans, that's when you were born for me, and you've never like went away anywhere. You've just been just not there now.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
So I suppose on that level, I've extended that friendship years ago. Why are you only bringing it back now?
Oh, well, you know, my bad. It was on me to, you know, respond to your friendship thoughts, and I failed you. So I am so sorry.
It's all right.
But
I forgive you. It's all right. It's all right. It's a learning curve.
It's good we had this talk. Wow.
It brings everything out in the open. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, I'm glad all of you got to see our friendship bonding. Oh, snap. Hellbound's here. What's up?
Oh wow! Speaking of hooligans, how
Yeah,
did you manage that?
I don't know. I don't know. All right, cool. Our interview was all over the place. I think I mean you answered all of my like deep penetrating questions and we covered a bunch of stuff, but I do think it's really cool to talk to you about it, and I hope it helps somebody and me also, mostly me. Sorry. Do
Well,
you,
I've certainly you've certainly opened my eyes to maybe some things. But the way I see it, like honestly, if there's 20 people around together, not all 20 people are going to be looking at the same thing. Everyone's going to be miles away, searching desperately for something to connect on in a character role play level, as well as being in mind that yeah, there are real people, you know, at their keyboards. But everyone does have their part to play. Everyone definitely does.
definitely. Yeah. Great.
Hmm.
All right.
Well, thank you very much for this.
Yeah, thank you as well.